morning, welcome to back. My channel is my name is Prakash Thapa. I am a student of the SAS Mr. Man Study. I am a first year. Today the topic of my presentation like cash flow and the life cycle, the state of the company, the subject like the financial management, the provision by the vessel. The cash flow statement. Basically, the cash flow statement that provide the information about like the cash receipt, like cash inflow, use of the cash like cash outflow during a period of time. Inflow and outflow are the report for like operating activity, investing activity, financing activity. Basically, this is structure of the cash pool is like cash inflow and outflow. The first structure like the operating activity when cash is a receipt revenue like exit and the cash expenditure like the expensive. The investing activity that this is the like sales property in like plant and equipment, sales of debt, equity and structure of the other entities like collection of the loans of the other entities. The finance activity basically the issue of the equity like security, like issue of the debt like the bonds and the notes. Operating activity basically when how the cash expenditure, when expense like exits like cash receipt like revenue. The investing activity like purchase of the property like plant and the equipments, the purchase and the debt like equity like security of the entity like loan and other entities. So the financial activity basically payment of the dividends, reduction of the debt, recapture of the capital stock. Classification of the business activity, the inflow and outflow of the cash. The investing activity has they divided two types like cash inflow and cash outflow. The cash inflow is like the sales of fixed assets, sales of investment, interest received, dividend received, working capital recovery. And cash outflow is like the purchase of the fixed asset, purchase of the investment, working capital. Classification between the activity inflow and outflow of the cash. The finance activity they have given the two types like the like cash inflow and the cash outflow have the most difference between like each and others. For example, like the cash inflow is like the issue of the share cash, issue of the debenture in the cash, proceed from the long term borrowing. And cash outflow is like the payment loans, redemption of the preference shares, payment of the dividends, interest paid, repayment of the financing less liability. Objective of the cash flow statement basically like the highlight the cash flow of the from different activity. Short term planning, cash flow is the information that help to the understanding the liquidity, efficiency in the cash management, the provision of the sickness, the comparison with the budget, cash position. Cash flow the statement like basically objective is like the does not the show the liquidity position of the firm. It is not the substitute of income and statement, does not show like financial form the there is totality. Cash flow statement the limitation basically does not have to show the liquidity the position of the firm. It is not the substitute of the income statement, does not have show the financial position of the firm that like the totality. Preparing the statement of the cash flow basically use the net the operating income and the starting. The point up to the gate is net operating cash flow. At the back any the cash expenses like example like minus depreciation. Like net cash flow is equal to like cash inflow minus cash outflow. Is net operating cash flow is like the is equal to like the income after tax plus depreciation. Preparing the statement of the cash flow like order of the presentation like three types like operating activity, investing activity, the finance activity. Like source of the information has also given like three types like the comparative balance sheets, current income statement and additional information. This is structure of the cash flow operating activity like the direct method. This is basic structure about like the cash inflow operating activity like indirect method. Force in the organization of the environment. The task environment basically supplier, the individual and the organization the task provide the organization with the input and resource. It is a need and produce the good and service like raw material, components, parts, labor, employment. The relation with the supplier can be the difficulty due to the material is like shortage, is like union and the lack of the substitutes. The suppliers that are the sole source of the criteria is like item are the strongest the beginning the position the rise there the price. So manager can reduce the supply the effective like increasing the number of the supplier of the input. The task environment the distribution basically like organization help to the other organization sell their good or service to the customers. The powerful distribution can limit access to the market through it is a control of the customer is through the market. The manager can be counter the effect the distributor by the seeking the alternative the distribution the channel. The task environment the can't basically like customer. So customer basically like individual and the group that the buy and good and service, that is the organization identify an organization main customer and the producing the good and service they want to the crucial to organization and the managerial success. Competitors the organization that produce good and service that are the similar to other practical the organization the good and the service the patient like computers. So organization and the, presently is not the task environment but is could enter if they so choose a strong the competitive the reliably the result in the price the computers is like the filling and the price reduce access to the resource and the low profit. The industry life cycle, basically industry life cycle the change that is take the place and the industry is the it goes through the stages birth growth and shake out the maturity and decline. Birth basically like industry computers like seek the development and the winning like technology. Growth is basically like industry product like gains the acceptance and the repeat the growth in the product like demand attract new competitors. Check out basically the industry the growth and slow is the weak the form the exist and the industry and the rivalry that increases. The industry life cycle is can't the industry life cycle is the can't like the maturity the market is stabilized and demand the level of and the industry is a non dominated by the few large competitors. Decline demand of the industry the product like declines, the competitors like increasing feeling the competitors either the exist the market are the accurate the by the rival form. Basically this is structure of the stage industry life cycle is like the birth growth shakeout and maturity and decline. The general environment basically like economical force now is the interest rate and inflation the unemployment the economic growth and the other like factor that affected the general health and the well-being of the nation, the regional the economy or organization. The manager usually cannot the impact contract this. The force how the poor found is impact the form. Technological force is like the outcome of the change in the technology is that the manager used the design and product is like distribution good and service. The result in the new opportunity like the threats and to the manager like the often the product and the obsolete very quickly can change how managers manage. The general environment the can't basically the social culture is like force researches the emanating like from the social structure of the country or society or the form and the national culture. Now the social structure like the arrangement of the relation between like individual and the group in the society. National culture that's how the set the value of the society is considered the important the and the norms like the behavior that the approval or the sanctional in that the society. The culture and the society the social structure value and the norms like and differs widely the throughout the world. Demographic force the outcome of the change in the changing the attitude the towards the categories of the population such as age gender ethic organized sex sexual and orientation. Political force basically the outcome the change in law and the regulation and such as the regulation of the industry like the regulation of the organization and increase the efficiency and environmental the protection. Thank you so much guys, you can listen to my presentation and watch into my video.